Hey guys, okay, this will be my last video from the hospital because this is day 4 and I will be going home. So this is part 3 of my single pregnant mommy story. I already touched on my procedures. I already touched on the signs and symptoms in early pregnancy, my first trimester. And now I want to talk about the elephant in the room. I want to talk about the miscarriage. What was the signs, what led to it, and how did I get here in the hospital in the first place? I just want to talk about that, and then probably my last video with my whole pregnancy story, because I know I am no longer pregnant. I want to talk about the relationship with my child's father and I, and how did I end up being a single mom, and how did we get to that point. That's going to be the next and probably the last video on this journey. So video number 3 is me having a miscarriage / ectopic pregnancy. So I found out I was pregnant when I was 6 weeks. I was 5 weeks going on 6 weeks. I found out I was pregnant at 5 weeks, and my emotion, I was very surprised and shocked and happy, and I just felt like a lot of different emotions. It was like I was upset. It was bittersweet. I was upset because of the person I was having a child by, which is my ex. We previously have an 8-year-old already together. So yeah, I know what it's like dealing with him as a co-parent, and I was not pleased that I was in this situation again. But I haven't had a child in 8 years, so I was excited to be a mom again. You know, this is my last year in my 20s. I will be 30 in September, so you know, just like a 30 year present to myself. I was just excited, regardless. And I want to say I found out I was pregnant 5 weeks on a Friday. I couldn't believe it. Saturday, I went to a clinic. I checked myself in just to get like double checked, even though I took like 5 pregnancy tests. The clinic had confirmed it. I told him about it Friday night. I'll get into his emotions and stuff in my relationship video, but right now I would like to focus on the miscarriage. So long story short, Monday, Saturday and Sunday, he came over to my house and we did get intimate. He was kind of rough. It was kind of rough. And I told him I was having like a little bit of discomfort, afterwards, So Monday morning, I woke up. He had left and went home. Monday morning, I woke up and I had bleeding, and I went to the bathroom. I was bleeding, and I was scared. I was freaked out. I went to the hospital. They did an ultrasound, a transvaginal ultrasound on me. They said it was too early to see an image of the baby, but when I got my chart back a day later, I seen 2 cysts on my left ovary would appear to be. Later on, we'll find out that that was really an ectopic pregnancy, and it was there, all along. But at this point, they just marked it as you're fine. I'm sorry, this is my hospital house phone. Hold on. Hello? Okay, thanks for letting me know. All right, bye-bye. Okay, y'all, that was my ride. I'm gonna miss this house phone. I need to get a house phone. I told my best friend. But yeah, Monday I went to the hospital, and that happened. I did call the father up to the hospital and let him know what was going on. Like I said in my part 3, you really need to watch these videos because I will explain his reactions and what happened. But right now we're just focusing on the miscarriage, so I'm gonna skip past a lot of stuff, but it will add up if you watch my other videos. Long story short, the hospital did end up sending me home. I was in pain. They sent me home. They told me to elevate and bed rest and follow up with a OB. They gave me referrals. So I called the local clinic trying to get scheduled up with an OB, and the OB was not available anytime soon. So they set me up with the next available midwife. So that's how I got in connections with my midwife. She was very cool. I met her 2 days later. So Monday I was in the hospital. My midwife appointment was Wednesday. She was cool, kind, friendly. We discussed plans like water water birthing, water labor, that's what she called it. I don't actually have the baby in the water, but I go through labor in the water, then get transferred to the bed. Like, we had made out of just future schedule plan and any questions I had. So she pretty much, it was just an intake. Meet her, tell her what's going on. She took my height and weight, she took blood, she took urine, and she was just like, okay, come back and see me in a week, and I want to do another transvaginal. Now, I have a family member who had a history of having miscarriages, and this was my first one, so they were kind of giving me advice on do not let the hospital, the doctors keep doing transvaginal ultrasounds on you, because that wand going inside your vagina area too much can encourage a miscarriage. And you already got one at the hospital, so just chill out. If you start bleeding, just try to elevate, take it slow, and you know, whatever's going to happen is going to take its course. But you will, you know, don't feel bad and don't try to get that encouraged by keep running up there, pretty much. So I took the advice. I never stopped bleeding. I had a method of drinking a whole lot of water, because the water will make the blood, you know, go. At first it was brown, like the first 2 days, and then it turned bright red. But the more water I drank, it would get like pink, and then it would get lighter, and then sometimes it would be none at all, but then it'll start back up later on that day or the next day. And I was just trying to keep my stress levels down and just stay elevated and stay relaxed despite everything else that was going on, which I will get in my part 3 video. But Saturday, and I took pictures, which is on my surgery video, it's my thumbnail. I probably would add it to this thumbnail too, but Saturday I went to the bathroom in the morning, and a whole bunch of brown expelled tissue stuff came out. It was just in the toilet, and then I wiped and some more came out again, and it got to the point where I was scared to use the bathroom because I did not want to have a miscarriage. And I was trying to look up YouTube videos like, okay, well, maybe other women went through this before and ended up having a happy, healthy pregnancy. But the videos that I seen, they were just like, yeah, I stay elevated, I had like a heavy flow and this and that, and I was scared to search up miscarriage and what were the signs and symptoms of one and what was one like, because I was trying to block out that negative thinking. So I kind of had a talk with God. I was just like, God, please let me carry this baby full term, and if it is a miscarriage, I don't want to suffer anymore. Just let it happen. I don't want to suffer. I have all the faith in you, but I'm tired of suffering. I'm tired. Like, I was going crazy, stressed out, trying to elevate. I didn't work. I didn't move. I was just too scared. And it's like a piece of me was already grieving during that time, because it's like I knew in my heart what was happening. I felt it. Like, it was even one time I remember I woke up in the middle of the night. This was probably like Sunday, and I was just like, I lost the baby. Like, I just woke up in the middle of the night and just, it's like my mind just blurted it out. But yeah, Saturday I had that tissue stuff come out. After that, I was still expelling tissue, like little pieces by little pieces, but it wasn't nearly as much as Saturday. And also, ever since before I found out I was pregnant, I was having really bad back pain. Like, the cramping was unbearable, and they just told me to take Tylenol. They prescribed it to me, and that was another one of my symptoms that I counted as like a pregnancy symptom, when in actuality it was kind of like a early miscarriage symptom as well, because it was bad, y'all. Long story short, Tuesday my midwife ended up calling me, and she was just like, okay, so when you came in here last week Wednesday, a whole week ago, by now I'm 6 weeks, she like, when you came in here last week Wednesday and took your blood test, your count was at 600, and I'm looking for around 10,000. And I'm like, oh wow. So I already knew. She was like, I need you to come in and we're gonna recheck your blood. And I'm like, okay, well, can I reschedule my transvaginal ultrasound? I just want you to look, because I had pushed it all the way back to May 10th, so I wouldn't get too many back to back. But I'm like, you know what, I need you to look now, because I need to make sure I'm okay. And she was just like, no, let's just keep the May 10th. We're gonna push it back for 3 weeks. We're gonna keep your appointment. And the whole time I'm going to the midwife office because they want to do another blood. I didn't even get to see her or anything. She just wanted me to do it with her tech. I'm on the phone with my best friend, and she's like, girl, go to the hospital if you have to, but get that transvaginal. You need to see what's going on, because we both already know, more than likely you already miscarried the baby or you're in the process, and you cannot keep that inside of you if you're still expelling and your HCG levels are still showing. So you need to check that out. So my best friends collected me. A piece of me was scared, and this goes for all women, because I ended up being in a life-threatening situation by not being on top of it, of, you know, wanting to get my transvaginal ultrasound and stuff done, because I was scared. I wanted to keep the baby, you know, and sometimes we cannot control nature, you guys. So what's gonna happen is gonna happen, and make sure that you don't neglect your health because of it. So fast forward, I went inside the house, the midwife. I took my blood sample, and I had asked if she wouldn't do my transvaginal ultrasound, can I get the lab work and take it to the hospital, because her assistant was like, yeah, you can take it, it'll be a faster process because we have no other doctor available anytime soon, and she won't be able to see you until May 10th. Like, she was pretty strict about that. So I'm like, okay, I'll take it to the hospital. I went all the way to the hospital, drove myself, and like I said, I wasn't even dressed for none of this. I thought we was just going, like, telling me on the phone that my counts and stuff was low. I didn't know what to be prepared for. I thought, okay, well, if I had a miscarriage, she's gonna tell me that it already happened and then pretty much just send me home. I didn't know. So I had came up to the hospital in like leggings and a sweatshirt. But it wasn't clothes to go home in with like a surgery and everything that I ended up having, being in here for 4 days. I wasn't prepared for none of this, no pajamas, no nothing. But yeah, so I went to the emergency room, and the tech that checked me in, she was like, they didn't put stat on your lab order, so they can't see you. So I'm like, what? She like, yeah, you're gonna have to make a regular appointment for an ultrasound. I can't just bring you back there. I said, oh my gosh. So I called the number. She had a bit of attitude. I called the number, and they said that since stat is not on my paperwork, when nobody be able to see me, the soonest they'll be able to see me is Friday. Keep in mind it's Tuesday. So I'm like, nah, that's not gonna cut it. I just need to check in as a regular patient. Registration was like, fine, but just know you're gonna be here for a couple hours. I suggest you just go home and make an appointment, but that's on you if you wanna stay hours. She was trying to like discourage me from checking in, like I'm making a bad decision just sitting up here. And she was just looking at me. What I was saying, it's like you could read. She was another black woman, and it's like from woman to woman, I feel like I could read her. And she was just saying like, if it already happened, it already happened. You wasting your time just staying up here. That's what I felt. But I'm not gonna put words in her mouth. But by her demeanor and stuff, that's what I felt. But I checked myself in anyway. I'm glad that my best friend was my rock. She was like, girl, I don't care if you up there for 5 hours, whatever, in the waiting room. You need to figure out what's going on with your body. And them cysts on the ultrasound, that's not right. Like, she was telling me, you gotta face the truth. You gotta grow up, face the truth, and I'm here with you every step of the way. So when I talked to the other lady checking me in, she was like, I'm gonna try to put stat on your paperwork. Like, something don't sound right. I'm gonna try to help you out. So I did get seen fairly quickly. She did pull some strings somehow, and I'm so grateful for her. She pulled some strings, and they did another ultrasound on me. Now, this ultrasound, when I went last week Monday, it was quick, and it just, you know, the results, boom. But when I went 4 days ago, Tuesday, that ultrasound took like 20 minutes, that ultrasound took like 30, 40 minutes. I was back there for a minute. They took 131 photos. I do remember that. And it was the transvaginal probe, and they did the stomach ultrasound. Guys, they said that she sent me back, and then I had to wait in the waiting room. Two doctors came, and it was like, meet me in triage. We want to talk to you. And I was like, oh, Lord. Like, I'm expecting them to tell me the worst. You know, 2 doctors come in. So they pretty much like, I showed them my image of Saturday because I did get a picture of the tissue that was expelled. And it was like, based off the image and what you're telling us and what we seen in the ultrasound, because there's no baby in the womb, it sounds like you did have a miscarriage, or you are still currently in the process of a miscarriage. He was like, my wife went through the same thing. It's natural. It happened to women. It happens. Don't beat yourself up about it. He was really concerning and caring. So I appreciated that. But yeah, so they were just like on the images, and I kind of recorded like a little video clip I'm gonna insert in here. But he was just like, it was a cystic filled sac that took the appearance of blood showing up on my ultrasound, and that's what they're concerned about, because it might be something called an ectopic pregnancy. So I was confused, like, do I have an ectopic or did I have a miscarriage? Like, what is it? So long story short, both of the doctors took a day to think about it. They checked me in as inpatient. They sent me upstairs. Now this is the part that hurt. I got sent upstairs to labor and delivery, the maternity ward. So I'm seeing like posters of babies and stuff, and I know mine is already gone or losing, and I am just feeling like crap. I'm feeling terrible, y'all. I'm just like trying to hold it all together, and different nurses and stuff are introducing themselves, saying they're so sorry, and yeah, that experience was terrible. So I'm up here, and the doctor come in, and he's like, him and his partner's gonna take overnight to think about it and let me know something tomorrow, but I might need surgery. So he came back the next day. He was like, yeah, they thought about it, and they're thinking that sac is something called an ectopic pregnancy, and if so, they need to get in there and save my life. And they warned me that they might cut the tube if it is an ectopic pregnancy. They couldn't tell if it was just cyst or with my endometriosis, since I do have a history of that buildup. They couldn't tell what it was exactly. I know endometriosis does not show on ultrasounds, so that's why he told me he needed to do a laparoscopy to double check, and then he also was going to do a D&C to clean me out. I made a whole video about it, and then if that was ectopic pregnancy, he was going to have to cut out the tube, my fallopian tube. So he warned me of everything, and I signed all my consent forms. Jesus, I had like 6 consent forms that I had to sign. I signed everything. And I'm going to surgery. I made a whole separate video about that. When they did put the pills in me before the D&C, however, my body was contracting. I started back bleeding. I had like little small blood clots, so I'm assuming that was probably like the rest of the baby. I did get a yeast infection while I was in here, so they gave me some medicine for that as well. All these tubes and probes and stuff stuck inside of me. I ended up getting a yeast infection. So yeah, that's pretty much my story. I am still bleeding now post-op, but my mom is on her way, and I'm about to go home now. I asked the nurse just to double check, so I'm like, technically I had a miscarriage and an ectopic pregnancy, and she was like, yeah, technically you had both of them, because you already expelled the baby and the rest of the remains did not come out, hint the D&C. But then I had to get the fallopian tube, the left one, taken out, because it was still that sac there from when the baby got implanted. So yeah, y'all, it was very life-threatening, and I am so grateful for my best friend to just push me and be like, girl, get up and go, get that taken care of. Something's not right. Like, I knew it, but I was kind of delusional because I just wanted to hold on to my baby so bad. But she told me, like, get up and go. And I will forever be, she saved my life. The doctor was in here talking about how life-threatening it was and how dangerous it would have been if it stayed like that. Now, imagine if I would have waited till May 10th, my midwife appointment, to finally get checked out. I probably wouldn't be here today to tell y'all the story. My midwife had the nerve of calling me, and she wants me to keep my appointment with her. No, cancel. I don't have no reason to see her. I'm just going to continue seeing my regular doctor and the new OB that I created that did the surgery. Created a client relationship with him, so I'm going to follow up at his office in a week, not 2 weeks later. But yeah, that's my story about my miscarriage and my ectopic pregnancy, and I hope that this helps somebody out. If you guys ever feel like you lost a baby, or you feel like you're in the process of a miscarriage. I know you might see a lot of videos. I was scared to even look up miscarriages. I didn't want that type of mojo around, and I know you may feel that way, but I'm telling you right now, save your life. Save your life, girl. Like, if you feel like something isn't right with your body, don't be afraid to go to the hospital, even if they have to do another transvaginal. The doctors do know what they doing. Like, I know you wanna be a mom so bad, but you need to be here. You need to save your life. And that's all my best friend was reminding me. You have 2 other kids that you gotta live for. Go get checked out. So I hope that this helps someone. Maybe there is another woman on the verge of going to the hospital, but she's just a little scared or unsure and just wanna hold on so bad. I get it, girl, I get it, I really do. But I'm telling you right now, this surgery saved my life, and hopefully my words can save yours. Till next time, I'm sorry for anybody who has ever experienced a loss. Keep posted for part 3. My next video, I will be talking about being a single pregnant mom and the journey of not being with the child father and what that experience was like. Just finding out I'm pregnant in the hospital, the breakup, everything. Hopefully my story, my testimony can help somebody. Stay strong. Till next time. Bye. Also, I would like to add in one of the signs and symptoms of the miscarriage, besides heavy back cramps. After I found out at 5 weeks, at like 6 weeks, right after that, especially once that stuff came out, that brown tissue stuff, I no longer felt pregnant. Like, my boobs wasn't as tender, and they wasn't as tender and swollen. I didn't have my fatigue like I had before. My cravings had went down. The only thing I still had was excessive thirst, but besides that, I felt like I should be gaining more symptoms. And that's kind of what my best friend was telling me too. Like, pregnancy shouldn't hurt. You should just feel like, sick, nauseous and stuff like that. But yeah, I just felt more pain than anything. So I just wanted to put out some of the symptoms for me. And it's like every little thing I would do, I would bleed. Like, I couldn't even go down the stairs or stand up for too long. It was like pain in my lower abdomen. And now, I know why. Also, I would like to say that at the doctor office, when I first went to see my midwife and she called me, she said my levels was 600. Then when I got to the hospital, they said my levels was 400, my HCG levels. And then the next morning, they said it dropped all the way down to 200. And it just kept dropping and dropping and dropping to the point where it was certain that I was already in the process of a miscarriage and I just needed to get the rest expelled. Everything was dropping, so the baby was already gone. Prior to getting the surgery, they just had to, I had to finish getting everything else out. So if you guys have any questions, just drop it in the comments, or you can follow me on social media. I include my Instagram if you want to private message me, and I'll try to answer things the best I can, whether I respond to you directly or I make a video just to help other people out. If you want to remain anonymous, that's fine too. But I just had to drop this little clip in just to add that. So I'm finna go. This is my last video from the hospital. The next one will be from like my home or something. And all right, guys, till next time.